The amount of simping over Absolute Batman #1 is really, really weird. The book's not that good. Even if you take the woke elements out of it, it's like a mid-tier Elseworlds story that should be selling like 30,000 copies. But because of the branding, Absolute Batman, named after the DC Absolute line, and because Scott Snyder returns to Batman, and DC all in, this is the final amazing form of Batman. That branding really has done a lot of the legwork for the lowering of a bar to, hey, this is the top selling comic of the month. There's really nothing special about the story at all. It's not that interesting, and it doesn't make sense on a few levels, even breaking it down. And then you get into the woke stuff, and it's really crazy. So I noticed yesterday I was getting flooded with comments about how it's not woke, you're just overly sensitive. Oh, who cares if Barbara's black? It's a Elseworld story. Very, very similar to what I got when I talked about Ultimate Spider-Man and its wokeness going on. And of course, we've seen the Ultimate Universe collapse into a woke train wreck, just like I predicted. And none of these people apologize to me. And this is what's happening with the DC Comics Simps now. They're just standing so hard for this because they just want a W so badly, even though there's not one here. We'll get into the news in just a moment. My name's John Delarose, the most trusted name in comics news. Thank you guys for being a part of the channel, and I appreciate you for being there. We've grown tremendously over the last couple of months, and we've done so by just telling the truth and not worrying about what the weird simp armies think on the internet. I'm also a comic creator myself. I just launched my Emerald Array this week. Really fantastic. And this is on Fund My Comic. And it's a full male Space Marine team fighting against an alien invasion, of course, to save all the humans in the Terran Imperium. Really, really high action-packed adventure here. Just high tea. Yeah, that's right. Something they don't do in comics anymore. And it's a lot of fun. We also just went back to like a 70s style of art, which I loved better. And we just from the coloring and the bright colors and the sort of retro-looking fading to the way the figures are done with like kind of the geometric shapes that Jack Kirby used to do in this kind of style. Really awesome stuff. I was showing off another panel on my X feed yesterday. My artist really this is exactly what you would have seen in like Kirby Fantastic Four space scenes here with all the alien bugs swarming on our awesome space battleship here. Amazing stuff. A lot of fun. So I was banned on Kickstarter because the mainstream comic industry is mad about my reporting. I tell the truth. They don't like the fact that I point out their weird diversity takes that they put in the comics. And, they just said that violates the community terms of service because I run a YouTube channel. This is the amount of censorship they're going to be willing to go to try to hurt artists out there. Very, very ridiculous. But we are on Fund by Comic now. They are pro-artistic free speech, and I would love for you to back this comic today. It's a 66-page graphic novel, and it is available for a bit. Get us to 10,000. That's kind of our goal for the weekend, and would love to get there. Strong start. Really appreciate you guys going to alternative platforms that are committed to free speech and free expression, and we plan to make comics for the long-term future. They can't stop the signal, Mal. Can't stop the signal. Love it. All right. So the weird thing about these weirdos out here is, again, I got this comment probably 50 times. She was in 2 panels. And this is about Barbara Gordon in the Absolute Batman book. And I wrote about this on my Fandom Pulse Substack also, which I'll just pull up the article real quick. And she was in 2 panels, and this is it, like right here, and you could see that she is a race swapped. She's now black, even though her dad Jim Gordon is white. She doesn't exist in the rest of the book. There's no story about her. Her character doesn't do anything. She's not important to Absolute Batman #1. She was literally inserted in here just for this panel, just to show the reader that she's black. No other reason, and to have the reader go, oh, Barbara Gordon's black now. There was no purpose to this for the story. She could have been cut out of this. An editor could have just gotten rid of this. You would have never known. It would have not affected the story whatsoever. And that's what's called virtue signaling. And the entire purpose of this was to put that in there. Now, we did a live stream last night, and actually, just based on Scott Snyder's history on how the woke have actually tried to attack him a lot of the time, he might have put this in here as like a sort of protection thing for himself. I'm speculating as to why this is, because Scott Snyder's not really prone towards a lot of woke virtue signaling in his work. This is kind of different. I actually really like his White Boat book, which is out from Distillery right now. It's a creator-owned comic. It's way better than this Batman stuff. If you're going to buy one of his books, grab that. But like I said, not prone to this. It's kind of weird that this was inserted into Batman #1. And we did a video on the main channel yesterday talking about there's a new trans clone trooper, which doesn't even make sense since clones are clones, and therefore wouldn't they all be the same? And how does that work? But okay. They admitted, the author who created that originally, that Lucasfilm actually told them to put in a trans character in the background to try to like add that little level of propaganda. Now, it might be that it came down from editorial. Hey, Batman as a property is not diverse enough. We have a whole cast of characters and they're not diverse enough. We need to add something in. We need to switch things up in this extra universe to make it a little more diverse. It's possibly that. It's possibly he wanted protection. It's interesting to see where this goes, but this is a big deal because they put this in here intentionally with just this purpose, just to signal that she's black. And that's what's happening across culture. This isn't a one-time thing either. I mean, it started with Miles Morales. Bendis did that, and now every book does it, right? Miles Morales is Miles Morales, but you better call him Spider-Man, or else you're a bigot, right? And then, of course, Ultimate Comics did the exact same thing with Black Cat, where it was announced that Black Cat, Felicia, maybe it's not Felicia Hardy. I got a lot of those comments. Black Cat's now been swapped with a black character as well. And so this is happening everywhere, and it's always a black woman. Why is that? It's very weird. It's like it's social engineering or something like that. And that is important, especially when it doesn't come to the story. It matters. And so when you come at me like with a comment, wrong tweet here, like this, and you act like it's stupid that I noticed it when there's no point to this in the story other than to notice this, you're the stupid one. You're an idiot. Whoever does this, and you can see that I got blocked by people here, and it's yeah. I mean, you see his comments. A lot of people piled on here. Absolute garbage. Won't be reading this woke trash. Batman's poor with a living room. Let's focus on that. As in, that's another stupid thing to do to Batman. Can you imagine what these knuckleheads will say if she's in the Batman Part 2? It's a knucklehead thing to notice it. Absolute work. It's just black Barbara Gordon. It is. It's a replacement. I mean, these people are like, it's really weird. I mean, is everybody in comics just desensitized to race swapping at this point? Is this a new thing? Like, so if I went out there and I went to Marvel Comics and I made Absolute Black Lightning and I made him a white guy, do you think I'd get this kind of like, hey, just leave it alone? It's just an Elseworlds, man. Would I get that kind of reception? You know what the answer is. One, they would never allow it. Number two, if I did, there'd be so much outrage in woke SJW Twitter that they'd go ballistic, saying, they'd call it white supremacist. They'd demand everybody get canceled. And so you see the double standard here that the SJWs do when they go at you as well. And this is the type of thing that, like, it just shocks me to see how far comics has fallen. To see that the bar, since Scott Snyder just told like a mildly competent story, which wasn't even that like well done, that just like kind of like you can track point A to point B, that so many people are simping for this that they don't even want to admit that there's a woke problem there when it's clearly a woke problem. It's crazy to me. But this is where comics are at. Anybody kind of left who's like still interested in DC Comics is like desperate at this point for some kind of W, and they're just not getting it because the comics just aren't that good. This was an absolute failure. And I think my favorite comment was absolutely not Batman, because the comic didn't read like Batman whatsoever. It read like Wolverine Berserker thrown into a Gotham City, like where things are just different. It's just kind of sad to watch how people say this is like something that's an okay thing at the end of the day. But we're going to keep fighting the good fight. We're not going to be silenced by this kind of thing or even intimidated by it. They are race replacing. It's for an agenda. It is for social engineering. This didn't have any purpose for the story. This is the worst of virtue signaling possible. The only question is it Scott Snyder's fault? And why did he do it if it is? Or is it editorial's fault for mandating this kind of thing to begin with? And if it's the latter, you know exactly where this is going to go because you've seen the Ultimate Marvel Universe. You know, Jonathan Hickman may just be putting Black Cat in a couple of panels, but she's black. Who cares? It's an Elseworld. But then you look at Ultimate X-Men, where there's no men who are X-Men, and it's just some weird teen girl fantasy. And then you look at the Ultimates, where it's just like the wokest of all garbage. We'll do another video on that later. I mean, it's so bad, it's unbelievable. And then they even got a they-them Hawkeye now. And then you've got Black Panther, which is like, oh, we chose these, but we better make one that's starring a black guy because that'll make, please clap, right? I mean, that's what the Ultimate Universe is now, too. And so do you think the Absolute Universe is going to be better when this is the start? When this is the Scott Snyder one? Do you think Jason Aaron on Superman is going to make it better? Do you think Kelly Thompson, the feminist now, is going to make Wonder Woman better? It's going to go down the toilet pretty fast, and it's going to go really woke really fast because this is DC Comics. They haven't changed. It's the same people in All In, and the same people, the same editorial are doing the same thing over and over and over because SJWs always double down. All right, leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Do grab the alternative, the Emerald Array. This is a great book. You're going to enjoy it. It's just a lot of fun. Space Marines, fighting bugs. You're going to absolutely enjoy it. Absolutely. Get it? All right, it's in the description below, and I appreciate your support. We'll be back soon.